America is Dead, The Incredible Murder of Donald Trump. Written by Brian Hogg. Performed by Brian Hogg. Chapter 1. Alex Jones. The air in Washington, D.C. reeks of sulfur tonight, as the evil, demonic forces targeting our democracy are celebrating their hideous victory. They're roaming the nation's capital tonight with their tiny bus-covered cocks in hand, spewing their poisonous sulfuric jizz everywhere, as they pleasure themselves over and over again, their relentless shrieks of pleasure assaulting the ears of every patriot unlucky enough to be within earshot. And that's not a metaphor, by the way. They ejaculate sulfur into the mouths of the so-called Democratic elected officials in order to control their brains. And as excited as they are about their victory, I am even more sad, more heartbroken, more terrified about what comes next, because our entirely legitimate president, Donald Trump, is dead. Did you know you can get an erection for being too terrified? I didn't either until tonight. But let me stand and show you. Look, I'm literally scared stiff here, people. I can't overstate how serious and apocalyptic this is. Also, just for clarity, if my jeans weren't so tight, my erection would be much more obvious and would look bigger. You go to hell, deep state. President Trump was found in the main hall at Mar-a-Lago, his beautiful golf course and home, in the most embarrassing position you can possibly imagine, laying face down, half naked on the floor in the exact center of the room for everyone to see. And now the media, they want to strip him of his remaining dignity by plastering the pictures of his putrefying corpse everywhere, online and on TV and on billboards on the side of the road. Those jackals want to burn this image into your eyes. They want to beam it into your brain while you sleep, so you never forget what happens if you step out of line. It's sickening. Jackals, you won't get me. I'll stop you. I won't let you win. They take this picture of him, which you can see here, which leaves literally nothing to the imagination, with our beloved president, the great American, possibly the physical incarnation of the concept of America itself, gifted to us by God himself, lying face down on a rug, his pants around his ankles, streaks of blood and feces, and who knows what else trailing behind him as far as the eye can see. Just take a minute right now to look at this picture, to see what the demonic forces from the center of hell want you to look at. Can you believe it? And can you imagine disrespecting someone like that by posting a picture of their corpse on TV and on the internet and everywhere else, making you stare at it? Just look at what they're doing. It sickens me, and it should sicken you. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable! Makes me want to throw up, folks. They don't even blur out any part of the picture either. You can just see it all. I mean, just look at this. Look at the details on his cheeks. They didn't hide anything. You could count every cellulite bump, every pimple and scar if you wanted. Unbelievable! We would never do this to them, even though they were a horror show from our nightmares. We would at least have the decency to respect their dead. You know I certainly would. I have an established track record of being respectful to my enemies, no matter their filth. We would at least blur out their devil horns, their hooves, and their disgusting tails that look like limp, dirty phalluses, no matter how much we might want to show them because we're decent people. We are the heroes of this story. All Donald Trump ever tried to do was help people, to bring in peace and prosperity, to usher in paradise for us all, and to burn the unbelievers in the cleansing fire. Because they're not real people. They're not humans, okay? They're not like you and me. They are lizard men from the center of the earth at best, golems from Satan's burning nipples at worst. And this is how the deep state repays him? Would they have treated Gandhi like this? Would they have done this to Martin Luther King? Or a musical icon like John Lennon? I think we all know the answer to that. No. Disgusting. Now, sure, the lamestream media is reporting that they don't know what happened yet, and that a massive investigation is underway, with every corrupt, deep state organization descending upon Florida to determine the cause of death. But anyone who doesn't realize this was a hit by underground reptiles working with corrupt, undead Democrats whose souls have been trapped inside remote-controlled dildos is just a lizard sheep with their eyes closed. Wake up, lizard sheep, and prepare for war. War is coming, and Trump's killers, the political machine who stole the presidency, will rue the day they had a standing president murdered. This is history, folks. Everything about this is brand new. We have no idea what's going to happen next. But don't let yourself be murdered by a Democrat mob of any kind. Use my latest nootropic supplement, Brain Force Omega, and you'll always stay one step ahead of the deep state operatives who want to hunt you down and skin you and hang your magnificent erect cock on the wall like a trophy. And you know what else, folks? I hate to say it, but maybe if Trump, as great as he was, had taken his Brain Force Omega, now with a triple dose of our proprietary nutritional blend, Forcium Blue, he might still be alive. Maybe we could have saved him. That's a guilt I'm going to have to carry for the rest of my life, I think. But you shouldn't be weighed down by guilt. Buy your Brain Force Omega today. We're having a 5% off sale if you buy 3 months worth for $199 a month. It's a great deal, folks. It's a life-saving deal. Next, Paul Joseph Watson is going to count the number of pimples on our beloved President Trump's incredible ass so the woke mafia can't. We're going to stop them, folks. Keep watching.
Ben Shapiro. So obviously, this is an earth-shaking development. This is the first time that an American presidential candidate has died during an election. It's never happened before. We are in uncharted territory here, because while there are federal guidelines that were set up in 1933 to help deal with the death of a presidential candidate, those were, broadly, intended for a candidate who was elected president but subsequently died before their inauguration. This is a different situation. One vice presidential candidate has died during an election, but no disrespect to vice presidents who hold a very important role in our system of just sitting around, kissing flags and saluting babies, waiting for a tie to break out in the Senate. A vice presidential death pales in the face of a dead presidential candidate. So what are we talking about here? Well, for one, Trump died before Election Day, so he wasn't officially elected. I'm sure he would have won if he'd lived long enough, and if we were in a country like North Korea, his death wouldn't be an impediment to being elected, but now we're looking forward to 4 more years of someone who only looks dead sitting in the Oval Office. But he already officially secured the nomination for the Republican Party, so we've got to scramble to find a replacement. Do we go with his vice presidential pick and promote them? That's one idea, but Trump hadn't decided on who that would be, so I'm guessing that would be like a bunch of greedy kids fighting over their parents' estate after they died without a will. So likely what will happen is that we're looking at an incredibly abbreviated new primary system for the GOP. Again, groundbreaking, virgin territory, because even once Nikki Haley or Vivek Rhymes with Cake or whoever reannounces their candidacy and wins the nomination, they'll be absolutely screwed regarding the ballots, because they won't be on them. And here I'm talking about the actual physical ballots. Electronic systems are one thing, but we've got a pretty messed up system, and some states, if you believe it, still think paper ballots are a good idea. That's stupid, but that's currently the law. And there are rules about when those have to be printed by. The new candidate will file legal appeals because of this historic set of circumstances, but who knows if we'll be lucky enough to get a good judge, one who believes in fairness, or if we'll get some left-wing loony who wants to stick it to the GOP and ensure Sleepy Joe's second term. So this is going to be a disaster. But perhaps even more important than what happens to the presidential race is, what happened to Donald Trump? How did he die? The investigation is underway now, and it'll be a top priority for basically everyone. But if they're going to do it right, and they must, they really cannot afford to rush through this in any conceivable way. It'll take months to find out what happened. Best case is that we're looking at 6 weeks before they're willing to even announce the results of the autopsy to find out if it was from natural causes. But come on. Come on. It is inconceivable that Trump just woke up one morning and decided to drop dead, okay? It is painfully obvious to me, and to all right-thinking people, that he was murdered. It's just gotta be a fact, okay? Someone, or some group of people, took it upon themselves to murder the frontrunner to the American presidency. I think this will go down as only the 5th assassination of a president in America's history, because even if he wasn't actively the president at the time of his death, he was killed, obviously, transparently, because of his presidency, both in terms of how idiots viewed his first term, and how they feared his second term, and the president honorific doesn't go away when you leave office. He is always and forever President Donald J. Trump. These are just facts. When I said a minute ago that the investigation has to be done perfectly, one reason why that's the case is if they don't have all their ducks in a row, it's entirely possible that we could end up with a murderer in the Oval Office. Just let that sink in, okay? Let's say if Joe Biden killed Trump and that doesn't come out until after Election Day, Sleepy Joe could squash any investigations into him and his heinous wrongdoing, and we'll never know. He could even pardon himself for any charges that might get laid over the next few months. We've never had to seriously consider anything like this happening before in the history of this country. But what if you're some freedom-hating woke scold who thinks that Trump just died of natural causes? Let's say that's possible, okay? Then what? Which natural causes? Be specific. Let's say he had a heart attack. Let's just say that. If so, why was his body found in such a humiliating state with his pants around his ankles in the middle of the lobby at Mar-a-Lago? Or let's say he had an aneurysm. Same question, okay? It can't be any long-term illness, because he was an extraordinarily healthy individual, as you can tell just by looking at him and his sweet, sweet pecs, but also because he got regular health checkups for years. For the 4 years he was president, he had a doctor following him around, constantly examining him, and we'd have heard if he had had some sort of fatal illness. We would have been warned. So that leaves us with sudden acute events, and I can tell you, my wife is a doctor, so I'm an expert, there aren't that many sudden acute events a person can die from that count as natural causes, okay? So yeah, it was murder. He didn't just fall off his golden toilet trying to reach a bucket of KFC and smacked his head that became confused and crawled out of his bathroom on his hands and knees, holding onto a bucket of greasy chicken with his teeth while blood streamed down from his forehead, with his unwiped ass stuck up in the air like a monkey in estrus, until he finally ran out of blood and collapsed on an expensive rug by the priority check-in line, okay? Don't be ridiculous. This was a murder. An American president was murdered, likely by the current president. And I will stake my entire professional reputation on that position. No, not a position, a fact. So, while the American government is facing what you could call an uncertain staffing situation, don't let your business get caught with its pants around its ankles. Use this week's sponsor, ZipRecruiter. They're the #1 job site in the USA.
Elon Musk.
The following is a series of X.com posts and replies by Elon Musk.
I can have 10,000 Cybertrucks ready for the National Guard by Tuesday. I can have 5,000 Optimus Prime robots ready to help secure Washington by Thursday. Once we get regulatory approval, they'll be cleared to use firearms.
Nobody with half a brain thinks that Trump died of natural causes, right?
Not me.
Yeah, pretty sure this business with Trump is gonna end up with riots in the streets. Good thing I've got my Cybertruck to keep me safe, yeah?
100% emoji.
Hey, at Elon Musk, are the Cybertrucks bulletproof enough for the Second American Civil War? If so, I want to order 4 more of them.
Next month we're announcing a Special Forces edition that has a rocket launcher and can stop a 50 cal bullet.
I'm hearing reports that Biden ordered the report on Trump's death to come back as natural causes, no matter what they actually find out. What the fuck?
Concerning. It's dereliction of your duty as an American if you don't first assume that a public official's death was murder.
Someone as vigorous as Trump just died of natural causes in the middle of the lobby of his golf course with no pants on.
Make it make sense, thinking smiley emoji guy.
Can we crowdsource a truthful investigation into Donald Trump's cause of death? Asking for the entire country.
Looking into it. Every one of my Democrat friends who aren't already turning Republican say that if the autopsy report comes back natural causes, they're flipping red. There's just no way anyone thinks at real Donald Trump wasn't murdered. Hashtag GOP. I don't know who killed at real Donald Trump. It's too early to tell. My guess is at Joe Biden, but it could also be at Zelensky or at Ben Affleck. Hey, at RNC, Tesla's entire AI network can be repurposed to investigate the circumstances surrounding at real Donald Trump's death. All you have to do is ask. We could have it solved by the weekend. Thinking of buying a Deerstalker hat and having my Cybertruck drive me to Mar-a-Lago to figure out who killed at real Donald Trump. Hashtag Sherlock. I'm going to figure this out. Nothing is more important to the future of humanity. Planet Earth emoji. On the road to Mar-a-Lago, the latest FSD beta is great. Great replacement this, motherfuckers.
Mitch McConnell. Truly, I say to you, I do not know if I am alive. I thought that I was a spirit, but now I think I am a body entombed in a suit so large that I shuffle within it when I breathe. I am confusion made flesh. Look upon my face, if I have one, and despair. I do not know if I have a face. I did once. It was young and handsome and devoid of a lifetime of sin scratched upon it, before the weight of all that I have done strained my skin and my sinew and my bone, such that even in my moments of rapturous joy, my visage was held captive by it, and I look now like I am contemptuous of all things. But I am only contemptuous of most things. And here I look upon my unblemished face, here I sit opposite my youthful self with all the vigor I can't recall ever having, and I wish to warn that young man not to start down this road, not to do the things I have done, not to forge myself into this wrought, suffering statue, this evil totem to itself. But I cannot, for I have no agency in these recollections, no power within whatever purgatory I find myself to reshape the current of my life. Surely this is my death. Surely this is the way a vengeful, just God punishes me for my distance from him. And as I attempt to find peace in the certitude of my suffering, allow the righteousness of the ceaseless pain no doubt bound for me to give me a measure of comfort, I hear a voice say, "No, Mitchell, you are not done. I am not ready to hurt you yet." "Are you God or the devil?" I ask. The voice answers, "Does it matter?" "No, sir, I suppose it does not." "All those years ago, did I make a deal with you on that benighted crossroads, sir? Or did you need something from me? Was the bargain struck not for the pillage of my country, as I have long thought, but for this moment?" The voice doesn't answer. Once I stood in Congress, at that podium I despise, announcing retirement to my hated foes. I had always imagined a moment of clarity, I said, and when that clarity was upon me, I would know that my great works had been done, the pain previously unimaginable inflicted as best as I could do, and it would be time for me to step aside.
to allow some other sadist to claim my seat, to maim the populace, maim freedom, maim democracy. These words left my mouth, and then all was light, all was blinding brightness, my victory complete. None who stood in my way able to stop me, none able to see the shape of my great game, most unwilling even to admit that a game was being played. Again and again and again my opponents took me at my word, took my sneering obtrusiveness as theatrics for the camera, contenting themselves with the notion that I was at heart a fairer man, a more reasonable man, a better man than I appeared in public and on the record. I was none of those things, and now I was only seeping flesh. As the light caressed me, my sole regret was that I was unable to say goodbye to my wife a final time, but solace I found in the surety that I would see her again soon enough, because she is not that much younger than me. My heart beat and beat and beat no more, and all my senses left me, but then the voice joined me and informed me of my toil. But how long was I nothing? How long was I nowhere in the world before my unexpected revival? And how do I know that any of it is real? How do I know that I am not but a dream imagining purpose before the arrival of the dawn and oblivion? The voice tells me that when I am called upon in my travails, I will know, that I will understand my final purpose, and that I must do the work. I ask the voice what happens if I do not, and it does not answer. The silence stirs fears in my soul that I have never before had the misfortune to experience. I do not like this fear. I do not like this voice. All at once I am in my office again, in my chair, in my body, in my calamitous suit. My wife holds my hand, and here I look at the clock and see that what were eons to me were only 30 minutes to the world, and my wife looks now upon me with truest relief, and my staff smiles down as they stand above me, and they tell me I am okay. Thank God, thank God, thank God. I have not the breath to tell them that I am not okay, but rather the puppet of some malevolent impossibility, that I fear not for the state of this frame but my eternity. But as I struggle to find that animation, it is months later, and I am in my home at my kitchen table, and I am working to eat my morning repast of one slice of toast with cream oats spread upon it. And the television tells me that Donald Trump has died of causes yet unknown, and I realize that my purpose is at hand, to atone for a small portion of the sin I have unleashed on the world. I must expose the end of his.
America is Dead is a work of fiction and of satire. While it focuses on real people who exist and seeks to make fun of them, no claim is being made that the things they do or say are things they've specifically said or done in real life. For example, at the time of this recording, Donald Trump has not been embarrassingly found dead. And, so far as I'm aware, Mitch McConnell does not believe himself to be a ghost.